It goes without saying, but if you are not a manga reader, please click off this video because we're going to be getting into some heavy spoilers. Yesterday, my boy Brago posted an awesome video talking about how Roof Piece broke the community both in the manga and in the anime this past weekend. And the craziest part about all of this, which I wanted to talk about today, is that originally, before the hack at Toei Animation, we were supposed to get Chapter 1044, the legendary Chapter 1044, with this past weekend's episode 1015. Episode 1015 was originally supposed to air on March 27th, 2022. And this chapter, of course, came out that very same week on March 25th / March 28th in the Viz version. And so when you think about that scenario, what comes to your mind? That there's an alternate timeline out there somewhere where this episode drops the same week as Gear 5th, as Nika Goatness. Do you think you would be able to handle it? I don't know if I would have. I'm going to be 100% real with y'all. I don't know if I would have. I would probably have needed some sort of defibrillator, something to revive the boy. Because, I don't know, man. That's too much peak. That's too much peak, alright? That is way too much peak for 1 week. To have the greatest episode in the entire series drop the same day as the most hyped chapter in the entire series, I would not have been able to handle that. That would have been the greatest week of all time. Alright, without question. And whatever timeline, whether it be Recon 2, Recon 3, Recon 4, whatever parallel universe has this, I pray for that man's heart. And I pray for all of your hearts. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever parallel universe has this episode and this chapter happening at the same time, yo, I don't know if we would have been able to handle that. When we look back at both 1015 and 1044, the craziest part about it for me is just how much both of them were breaking the internet. The thing is, with that phrase, breaking the internet, it normally refers to something trending so ridiculously that even people who do not watch this series or read this series see it all over the place. And that happened with both of these events. I have been in this community for a very long time, and I've seen a lot of these breaking the internet moments, and those you just had to be their moments. The thing that made 1044 so special is that for a lot of individuals who just recently caught up after the pandemic, this was their first breaking the internet moment. And so you have the fans that have been here for a very long time, the fans who just recently caught up, and the people who don't even know about the series, all discussing Chapter 1044. And this was coming after Chapter 1043, which by itself was one of the craziest you just had to be there moments in the entire series. And what followed in 1044 had everyone losing their minds to the point that peak fiction was trending. Peak fiction was trending the night the 1044 dropped on that Thursday. We had peak fiction trending, Luffy was trending, 1044 was trending, everything was trending, alright? Everything. Shanks was trending, everything was trending. It got to the point to where it was absolutely everywhere. People that I know in life have told me that they got spoiled on Gear 5th because of that. It was just everywhere. I saw Axe body sprays talking about how amazing One Piece was that day. I think even the French police were talking about how legendary One Piece Chapter 1044 was. And it's like, yo! And then I had my boys at RDC World who are not caught up to the manga who were talking about how goated Gear 5th was, and then they had to delete the tweet because they didn't want to spoil anime only. And so the thing that makes the 1044 experience so crazy is that just like with 783 going into 784, which is the Gear 4th chapter, at the end of 783 it was Gear 4th, 2-week break, and then we come back and we see Gear 4th, right? At the time, that was absolutely insane. That 2-week stretch will always be memorable for me because we were all just speculating, what is Gear 4th? What is Gear 4th? We didn't even know if there was a Gear 4th. So to get that confirmation and then spend those 2 weeks speculating what it is, and then getting what we got, it was just a legendary experience. But the thing with this one is that with the Drums of Liberation playing, we had from Joy Boy reincarnation theories to resin theories to it was insane. You had everything on the planet. The experience from 1043 until 1044 came out was nuts. It was nuts, man. It was truly crazy, all right? And then when you get to the actual chapter dropping, and you get the most hyped chapter ever, with turning the entire series on its head, with the Gomu Gomu no Mi actually being the human model Nika. Nika! You got the Go doing his thing, and then you get the pinnacle, the peak. This is my peak. This is Gear 5th to get Awakening, which is Gear 5th. And the reveal of what his fruit actually is. And then on top of that, the Luffy Tunes versus Kaido action all in one chapter. The Drums of Liberation is peak peace, alright? It is peak peace. We are living it right now. But that is why that was just so crazy to so many of us. And the form itself looks so phenomenal that it attracted so many eyes once the individuals that draw fan art of the forms. There was so much, there still is, fan art coming every single day for Gear 5th. And what that gets is so much traction coming in. But at the time, when the chapter dropped, all eyes were on One Piece. It was Gear 5th this, Gear 5th that. One Piece was crazy good this week. This was insane. I mean, it was just, that week was special, man. It was #1 worldwide. Everyone was talking about Gear 5th and how legendary that chapter was. You had colorings and all that stuff all over the place, right? It was a crazy, crazy day. Without question, probably my favorite weekly chapter reading experience ever. And that was just crazy, dude. It was insane. We have never had that amount of traction in our community, both on Twitter and on YouTube. My boy Brago had like 10,000 people watching him live. I've never had over 1,000. I had 1,000 plus in that stream. It was a crazy day, all right? It was a crazy day. I feel like that's the most interest that there's ever been in this series up until that point. And it was insane, man. It was absolutely insane. And what's even crazier than that is the fact that because of the anime, because of individuals that do not read manga, there's a lot of people who stick anime only to a lot of things. Manga readers are their own little niche within the big anime community. Even though there's a lot of people who read the manga, especially for stuff like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, because of how legendary the weekly experience is for those three series, especially if you grew up with them. But besides that, a lot of people stick to anime-only content when it comes to just anime manga in general. So when episode 1015 dropped, which is the best episode in the series, all right? When you get the GOAT episode, finally, listen, man, we're finally getting Roof Piece. This has been the thing that on this channel we have been highly hyping up, not only just on this channel, this entire community, that we've been hyping up from the moment the chapter dropped. We cannot wait until it gets animated. We cannot wait until it gets animated. And for it to surpass expectations in the way that it did, it just had to do what it did. It had to reach the eyes that it did. Look, man, this video is another excuse to talk about this legendary episode. This thing was spectacular. And the fact that we had once again another thing 1 month after 1044, because there is trending insane and then there's breaking the internet insane. 1044 and 1015 did both. And the reason why I know they did both is because I know people who have never watched One Piece who watched 1015. I know people who have never watched the series, and I know I'm not the only one because I've seen comments both on here and on Twitter talking about the same thing, that people who have never watched the series watched this episode. That's how insane this episode was. It was trending all over the place. #1, I mean, dog, it's One Piece 1015. All right, it's Roof Piece. Roof Piece was everywhere. Everywhere. That clip of the Red Rock is everywhere, as it should be. All right, as it should be. My mind is rent-free with a lot of stuff right now from that episode. The Yamato section, which was spectacular. But dog, Gomu Gomu no, dog. I mean, come on, bro. The last like 2 minutes of that episode is the peakest of the peak. All right, it is the peakest of the peak, and it's everywhere. the individuals reacting specifically to that scene is everywhere. Then the clip by itself is everywhere. And it's like so many eyes are on the product who have never seen it before. And this is normally what takes place. I've seen this happen in multiple points, not only just with One Piece, but with other series, where something like this can cause another boom. I felt like Gear 5th by itself was gonna cause another boom, and I've seen quite a few people catching up to the series after 1044 dropped. And if 1044 wasn't enough, now we have 1015 dropping another viral banger that has everyone hyped. And what makes 1015 so special is that both manga readers who have been looking forward to this for a very long time and anime onlys who have been watching this series leading up to this moment, both of them were able to come together to get collectively hyped over this masterclass of an episode. Because whether you're experiencing this for the first time or you're a manga reader waiting to see this adapted, your mind's gonna be blown either way, because the content is just that special. What's covered in this episode is just that special, and the adaptation, the creative vision behind this episode is also just that special. And so then you have a moment where manga readers and anime onlys come together, and then it's really popping off. Because it's one thing to have only manga readers, and Gear 5th was already all over the place, right? Just with manga. When the anime onlys and the manga readers come, oh no, that's it. That's it. So this is the thing. In that alternate reality, I know it's a hypothetical scenario at this point, but just imagine the alternate reality where 1044 and 1015 drop at the same time. Yo, man, I don't know, dude. That would have been the craziest weekend of all time. Of all time. All right, and I'm saying that with my own personal bias of 1044 probably being the most hyped I've ever been while reading anything, and then 1015 being the greatest anime episode I've ever seen. And it's like, dog, that would have been that would have been great. And now we have a scenario where, because Megumi Shitani, the director for this week's episode, it appears that she does so every 22 chapters. Shout out to Dotel for putting this in the comments section and pointing this out, that Dotel stated like it was like 956 to 978. So 956 was episode 957, 978 was episode 982, and now chapter 1000, of course, was episode 1015. And so it's every 22 chapters. So, with that being said, if we follow this same line, then somewhere around 1022, 1023, 1024, 1025, we're going to get another Ishitani episode. And then after that, 22 chapters after 1022, it's going to be 1044. Now let me tell y'all something, man. If we get a 1044 adaptation that is as good, it has to be half as good. But if it is as good as this, what we got in 1015, you thought Peak Fiction was trending the night that Gear 5th came out. Wait until that episode gets adapted. Wait until that episode releases if that's the case, all right? Wait until that happens. So overall, I just wanted to make this video just being grateful for the fact that all of us are here to experience this greatness. Because like Brago said at the end of this video, this is a time that one day I'll be looking back on while I'm talking to my grandkids, and I'm gonna be like, yo, I experienced Roof Piece, and I experienced Luffy Tunes Piece at the same time, and it was absolutely legendary. It was the greatest experience. It was the greatest fictional reading experience and watching experience ever, because the community just made it so much fun, where we were just losing our minds. It was such an amazing time to be alive, and I'll never forget any of this. It'll always remain in my heart for how amazing all this stuff was, and to be able to experience all that is something I'll always be grateful for. And to know that Roof Piece is only going to continue from here, and we have more opportunities for insane viral moments to get even more people into this series. And it's such a great time to be a fan, man. But I just wanted to make this video because I can't stop talking about Gear 5th, and now I can't stop thinking about the latest episode for Roof Piece. So we're eating, man. We are eating. It is a good time to be a fan of both the manga and the anime. They're both going in so hard, man. It's insane how hard they're both going. And it just makes it a real treat every single week. So next week we'll be back with the chapter and the episode. But until then, I will see y'all next time. Shout out to Brago for making that video yesterday, because it definitely inspired this one, man. So I'll see y'all next time. Have an awesome day. Let me know y'all's experience with the 1044 chapter and the 1015 episode, and how crazy it would have been if both of those would have dropped at the exact same time. Would have been insane. Would have been the craziest week ever, man.